All right, so looks like these notes are all about personal finance, ready to bust some money myths. We're going to unpack 12 lies about money. And it looks like you're really into like reframing your whole money mindset.
I think what's cool about this is that they're not just budgeting tips.
Right.
They really get at the underlying beliefs that can kind of hold us back financially.
Absolutely. Our source for this deep dive is this person is amazing.
Oh, yeah.
They built an 8-figure business totally from scratch.
Wow.
And they're sharing what they learned, and it gets really interesting.
I bet. I think what you'll appreciate is they don't shy away from challenging conventional wisdom.
Oh, no, not at all.
Especially when it comes to things we often just accept as like truths about money.
Yeah.
You know?
Absolutely. So let's jump right in.
Okay.
Line number 1. Money doesn't grow on trees. Or the idea that money is inherently scarce.
Right. You know, instead of just saying money is abundant, which a lot of people do, the Spiegel makes a really interesting point.
Okay.
They talk about like the concentration of wealth and how we're surrounded by evidence of abundance, even in everyday places like airports.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
You know, I've never thought about it that way. It's like we're conditioned to focus on the lack, not the possibilities.
Yeah, the possibilities.
Yeah.
And they take it a step further.
Okay.
They argue that seeing those signs of abundance should actually spark the idea of creating value. So instead of just noticing a problem like, oh, this airport is so crowded or whatever, you start thinking, how could I solve that? And how could I turn that solution into something people would pay for?
It's almost like flipping the scarcity mindset on its head, right?
Totally.
Instead of seeing the limitations, you're seeing opportunities everywhere.
Exactly. And thinking about your notes, your interest in topic from listeners' notes makes me think about this even more.
Oh, wow.
Even within that niche, there are tons of problems people face. Knowledge gaps they need filled, all potential for someone to step in and create value.
Okay, that's a seriously powerful takeaway. It makes you realize that money doesn't grow on trees isn't about some fixed amount of wealth. It's about being the one who plants the metaphorical tree.
Right, I like that. I like that analogy.
Yeah.
And it leads perfectly into line number 2, which is a big one.
Okay.
Owning a home is an asset.
Ooh, this one is sure to spark some debate, especially since it challenges that deeply ingrained American dream narrative.
Well, remember, this speaker went from washing cars to financial success.
Right.
So their perspective is really shaped by that experience.
Right.
They're not against home ownership entirely.
Right.
But they want us to look at it critically, not just emotionally.
I see.
You know?
So what's the core argument against that automatic asset label?
It comes down to understanding the nuances of assets and liabilities, right?
Okay.
Like the oversimplified version is that an asset puts money in your pocket.
Right.
A liability takes it out. But something like real estate can be both.
Yeah.
And that's where people get tripped up.
Could you maybe give us an example to kind of illustrate that for the listener?
Sure. Think about like a rental property.
Okay.
If you have a rental unit where the income covers the mortgage and expenses, even better if it generates extra cash.
Yeah.
That's it acting as an asset, right? It's working for you.
Makes sense.
But if it's your primary residence and you suddenly lose your income, well, those mortgage payments don't stop and it kind of flips into a liability.
Right.
Okay.
See? Yeah, absolutely. So their point isn't never buy a house. It's
understand the mechanics before making such a huge financial decision.
Yes.
There are tons of factors at play. Interest rates, property taxes, potential appreciation, your own income stability, even things like your personal goals and how long you plan to stay in one place. You know,
It's all part of the equation.
It's all part of the equation.
So for you listening, where do you stand on homeownership? Is it a non-negotiable goal for you? Or are you maybe exploring alternative paths toward building financial security? You know, it's all about finding what aligns with your unique circumstances.
Which ties in nicely with line number 3.
Okay.
Listen to your elders and loved ones. They know best, especially when it comes to money.
Yeah. Now, before anyone gets offended, I think we can all agree that this advice usually comes from a place of love and concern, right?
Totally. But as the speaker points out, sometimes that well-intentioned advice is based on outdated information, personal biases, or a limited financial perspective.
Yeah. They actually say, and I'm paraphrasing here, don't take financial advice from someone who's broke.
Right.
Which sounds harsh, but I mean,
Think about it.
Yeah.
If someone hasn't achieved the level of financial success you're aiming for,
Yeah.
their advice might not be the best roadmap.
Right.
So where should we be turning for guidance then?
Yeah, that's a good question.
This is where the concept of mentors comes in. And luckily, in today's world, you don't have to have a personal relationship with someone to learn from their expertise.
Right.
Books, podcasts, online courses, there are so many ways to access the wisdom of successful individuals.
It's about seeking out those who have walked the walk, right?
Yeah.
Not just talk the talk.
Exactly. And it's about being proactive, you know?
Mm-hmm.
It's like you're curating your own personal board of financial advisors, even if it's just through the content you consume.
I love that analogy. So think about this. Whose financial advice do you value most right now? And why? You know, is it aligned with your goals? And does it come from a credible source?
It's a powerful question to consider.
Yeah. Speaking of powerful questions.
Oh, yeah.
Let's move on to lie number 4, which I find particularly intriguing.
Okay.
Making mistakes is bad. Like, we're programmed from a young age to fear failure,
Oh, yeah.
especially in like traditional education systems.
Yeah, absolutely. But what's fascinating is how the speaker flips this on its head. They argue that in the real world, especially when it comes to building wealth or starting a business, mistakes are inevitable.
Yeah.
In fact, they're often the most valuable learning experiences.
It's like they say, you can't learn to swim just by reading a book.
Right.
You got to get in the water.
You got to get in the water, and that's where the real learning happens.
Yeah.
Through trial and error.
Right.
Through taking risks and adjusting your approach based on the feedback you receive.
So it's not about avoiding mistakes altogether. It's about
reframing them.
Yes.
It's about seeing those failures as opportunities to course correct, to gather valuable data, to refine your strategy.
Yeah.
In a sense, those mistakes become stepping stones towards success.
That's such a powerful mindset shift.
Oh,
Okay, brace yourself for lie number 5, because this is a bold one.
Okay.
Don't prioritize money in business.
This one might raise some eyebrows, especially for those who value work-life balance or who have a more holistic view of success.
Right. But remember, our speaker comes from an entrepreneurial background.
Yeah.
Where focus and dedication are key ingredients to building something from the ground up.
Right.
So,
and they're not saying you should neglect other areas of your life.
Right.
But they make a compelling argument for why prioritizing your business can be a powerful driver of wealth creation.
Yeah. They actually suggest that for many people, building a business is the most effective path to financial freedom, even more so than a traditional job. And they back that up with some solid points. For example, they talk about the tax advantages of business ownership and how entrepreneurs can often structure their finances in a way that minimizes their tax burden.
Right.
Which can be a huge benefit in the long run.
A huge benefit.
Yeah. They also emphasize the potential for unlimited income.
Yeah.
Unlike a traditional job where you're trading time for money at a fixed rate.
Yeah.
A successful business has the potential to generate exponential growth in income over time.
It's about creating a system that works for you, even when you're not actively working in it. It's about building an asset, not just trading your time for a paycheck.
Right.
You know.
Totally. So let's get those creative juices flowing. If you could design your ideal business, what would it be? What problems would you solve? What passions would you pursue?
It's your chance to dream big.
Yeah.
And who knows, maybe this deep dive will spark an idea that could change your financial future.
Absolutely. Now, let's tackle lie number 6.
Okay.
Which is another one that might challenge your preconceived notions.
Right.
Taxes are a punishment.
I think we've all felt that sting when tax season rolls around, right?
Oh, yeah.
It's easy to see taxes as this burden,
Yeah.
this chunk of our hard-earned money being taken away.
Right.
But
Our speaker has a completely different take.
okay.
They reframe taxes as a system of incentives.
Oh.
And honestly, it's pretty eye-opening. Instead of seeing taxes as something to be avoided or resented,
Right.
they encourage us to understand the tax code and to use it to our advantage.
To our advantage.
Yeah. They even point out that many wealthy individuals and businesses actually seek to pay taxes because it means they're generating income and creating value.
Yeah, that's a good point.
It's about shifting your perspective from how can I pay less in taxes to how can I leverage the tax system to achieve my financial goals.
To achieve your financial goals, yeah.
And they emphasize the importance of working with professionals tax advisors, accountants,
Right.
the people who can really help you navigate the complexities of the tax code and ensure you're making informed decisions.
Yeah.
It's about seeing taxes as a strategic element of your overall financial plan, not just something to dread.
Not just something to dread.
So, how could a shift in your perspective on taxes empower you to make more informed financial decisions? It's a question worth pondering.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Okay, let's move on to lie number 7, which is a classic procrastination trap. Wait for the right time. It's so easy to get caught up in waiting for the perfect moment to start investing, to launch a business,
Right.
to make a major financial move.
Yeah, it's easy to get caught in that analysis paralysis.
But our speaker points out that that perfect moment rarely exists.
Yeah.
They argue that taking action, even if it's imperfect action,
Yeah.
is almost always better than waiting on the sidelines.
Them waiting on the sidelines.
Yeah,
They even use a great analogy. They talk about building a rocket while you're flying it.
I love that. It captures that idea as learning by doing, of figuring things out along the way.
Learning by doing. Yeah.
Right.
They emphasize that momentum is key,
Yeah,
that you'll learn more from actually taking action than from endlessly planning and preparing.
absolutely.
So,
What's one small step you can take today to move closer to your financial goals? It doesn't have to be a huge leap, just something to get the ball rolling.
get the ball rolling. Remember, even small, consistent actions can compound over time
Right.
and create incredible results.
Yeah.
It's about building those positive habits and taking those first steps, even if they feel a little scary.
All right. Lie number 8 tackles a topic that can be tough to face.
Okay.
Celebrate your achievements by self-destructing.
Oh, wow. This one goes deep into the psychology of success
Yeah.
and the tendency for some people to sabotage themselves
Right.
when they start to achieve their goals.
The speaker actually shares some pretty sobering stories of individuals who built successful businesses, only to lose it all through reckless spending, substance abuse,
Right.
other destructive behaviors.
Yeah. It's a cautionary tale about the importance of developing a healthy relationship with success and having strong support systems in place to help you navigate the challenges that come with achieving your goals.
So it's not just about reaching that financial finish line.
Right.
It's about maintaining that success and ensuring it contributes to your overall well-being.
Exactly. How can you celebrate your wins in a way that feels good, aligns with your values, and sets you up for continued growth and fulfillment?
Great question. All right, let's move on to lie number 9,
Okay.
which is all about the importance of reinvestment.
Reinvestment. This one is so crucial, especially when it comes to building long-term wealth.
Yeah.
The speaker talks about nurturing the source of your wealth, using the analogy of a goose that lays golden eggs.
Right. If you spend all the eggs without taking care of the goose,
Right.
it will eventually stop producing.
It will eventually stop producing. It's the same with your business, your investments, or even your skills and knowledge.
Yeah.
If you're constantly draining those resources without reinvesting,
Right.
they'll eventually dry up.
So it's about finding that balance between enjoying the fruits of your labor and making sure you're continuously feeding the source of that abundance.
Feeding the source. They actually recommend setting aside a specific portion of your income specifically for reinvestment, whether it's back into your business, into professional development courses, or even into investments that will generate passive income over time.
It's about playing the long game and creating a sustainable system for wealth creation.
For wealth creation.
Okay. Lie number 10 might make some people uncomfortable.
Oh, okay.
Don't learn to sell or promote yourself.
This is where the speaker challenges that common aversion to selling out or being perceived as pushy or self-serving.
Yeah. They argue that selling is actually a valuable skill, and when done authentically,
Yeah.
it's a form of service.
It is.
It's about connecting people with solutions
Yeah.
that can improve their lives.
They reframe selling as a way to share your talents and expertise with the world, to make a positive impact, and to generate income in the process.
A win-win.
It's a win-win.
So how can you embrace the art of selling in a way that feels authentic to you? It's about finding your unique voice, your style, your approach.
Yeah, remember, selling isn't about manipulating people. It's about communicating the value you bring to the table.
Absolutely. Okay, on to lie number 11.
Okay.
Focus on looking rich, not being rich.
This one is so relevant in today's social media-driven world.
I know, right?
It's about that trap of seeking external validation through material possessions.
Yeah.
Even if it comes at the expense of your financial well-being.
The speaker makes a crucial distinction between having wealth and showing wealth. They warn against falling into the trap of buying fancy cars or expensive clothes just to impress others, especially if it means going into debt or sacrificing your long-term financial goals.
Yeah, they even share stories of people who appear wealthy on the surface but are actually struggling financially behind the scenes.
It's all a facade.
It's a facade. It's about recognizing that true wealth is about more than just appearances.
Yeah.
It's about financial security.
Right.
It's about freedom and flexibility.
Yeah.
It's about having the resources to pursue your passions and live a fulfilling life.
So what does true wealth mean to you? What brings you genuine fulfillment and security beyond material possessions? It's a powerful question to reflect on.
Really is. And it leads us to lie number 12, which ties in nicely with the previous point.
Okay.
Take advice from anyone and everyone.
Yeah, this echoes the earlier advice about being discerning about your sources of information,
Yeah.
especially when it comes to financial matters.
It's about being mindful of who you allow to influence your thoughts and decisions.
Right.
The speaker cautions against blindly following the crowd or taking advice from people who haven't achieved the results you desire.
Right.
They emphasize the importance of surrounding yourself with supportive and successful individuals
Right.
who can inspire you, challenge you, and offer guidance based on their own experiences.
It's about creating a circle of influence that aligns with your aspirations and that helps you stay focused on your goals.
Stay focused.
So take a moment to consider, are your closest relationships empowering you or holding you back? It's an honest question to ask yourself.
Yeah.
And it might lead to some important insights about the people and the information you allow into your life.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're going to take a quick pause here, but when we come back, we'll be diving into a bonus lie that our speaker didn't explicitly mention.
Oh, interesting.
But it's definitely worth exploring. It's about the dangers of blindly following the crowd and the importance of developing your own informed financial philosophy. Stay tuned.
Welcome back. We covered a lot of ground with those 12 lies, but there's one more
Okay.
that's kind of closely tied to our discussion about surrounding yourself with the right people.
Oh, I'm intrigued. I have a feeling this is going to tie everything together in a really insightful way.
It really does.
Okay.
It's the idea that you should blindly follow the crowd, especially when it comes to financial decisions.
Okay.
We're talking about that herd mentality that can lead people astray, even with the best intentions.
That makes total sense, especially in today's world, you know?
Yeah.
It feels like everyone has an opinion on the best investments, the hottest trends,
Right.
the guaranteed path to wealth.
It's like everyone's trying to sell you something,
Yeah.
whether it's a specific stock, a financial product, or even just their own version of financial wisdom.
Right.
And with social media amplifying all of that,
Oh my gosh.
it's easy to feel like you're missing out if you're not jumping on the bandwagon.
It's that fear of missing out, FOMO, that can really cloud your judgment, right?
Totally.
You start second-guessing yourself, you know? Like,
Yeah.
maybe these people know something I don't.
Yeah, and that's precisely why it's so crucial to develop your own informed financial philosophy,
Yeah.
to really understand what aligns with your goals, your values, your risk tolerance, and your unique circumstances.
It goes back to what we discussed earlier about seeking out mentors
Yeah.
and learning from those who have achieved the kind of success you aspire to. It's about finding guidance that's tailored to your individual journey, not just following the latest fad or hype.
And it's about questioning everything. Don't just blindly accept financial advice, even if it comes from a seemingly reputable source. Do your own research, ask questions, make sure it truly makes sense for you.
There's that saying, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is.
Exactly. Be wary of those get-rich-quick schemes.
Right.
Or promises of guaranteed returns. Remember, building wealth is a process
Yeah.
that takes time, effort, and informed decision-making. There's no magic bullet.
Okay, so we've explored 12 common money lies, plus that bonus one about following the crowd.
Right.
My mind is buzzing with new perspectives. What are some of the key takeaways that stand out for you?
For me, the biggest one is the importance of shifting from a scarcity mindset to an abundance mindset.
Yeah.
It's about recognizing that opportunities to create wealth exist all around us if we just open our eyes to them.
I love that. And I love that challenge,
Yeah.
you know, to really think about
Yeah.
the problems we can solve.
The value we can offer to others. It's about tapping into our unique skills and talents.
Right.
Finding creative ways to monetize them.
Another crucial point is recognizing that building wealth is a journey. It takes time, effort, and a willingness to learn and adapt along the way.
So true.
There's no such thing as overnight success or a guaranteed formula.
Which ties into the importance of being patient and persistent, even when things get tough.
Absolutely.
Right. It's about staying focused on your goals and remembering that setbacks are inevitable, but not insurmountable.
Right. It's about embracing those mistakes as learning opportunities and using them to refine your approach.
Now, before we wrap up this deep dive, I want to touch on something that our speaker emphasized throughout their whole talk: discernment.
Ah, yes. Being discerning about who you listen to, what information you consume, and even what opportunities you pursue.
It's about developing that critical thinking muscle and not just blindly accepting everything you hear or read, especially when it comes to financial advice. Right. It's easy to get caught up in the hype or to follow the crowd, but it's so important to step back and evaluate things through your own lens.
Right.
Ask yourself, does this align with my values?
Yeah.
Does this make sense for my situation? Is this advice coming from someone I trust and whose success I admire?
It's about being proactive in curating your information sources and surrounding yourself with people who support your goals and challenge you to grow.
Exactly. And remember, it's your financial journey, and you get to choose who you listen to and how you define success.
Our speaker ended their talk with a really powerful question. Which of these lies has held you back the most?
Ooh, that is a powerful question. It really makes you think about those deeply ingrained beliefs that might be subtly sabotaging your financial progress without you even realizing it.
You know, it's about becoming aware of those limiting beliefs.
Yeah.
And consciously choosing to replace them with empowering truths. It's about taking ownership of your financial narrative and shaping it in a way that supports your goals and your vision for the future.
And that brings us to our final thought for you to consider.
Yep.
Now that we've deconstructed these money myths, what bold actions are you inspired to take?
What steps can you take today, even small ones, to create a more abundant future? One that aligns with your values, your goals, and your unique path.
It's about taking that knowledge and turning it into action.
Right.
It's about moving from a place of fear or limitation to a place of confidence and possibility.
We've explored a lot of ground in this deep dive, but there's one final lie we want to unpack, and it's a big one. All debt is bad. It's time to challenge that deeply ingrained belief and explore how debt, when used strategically, can actually be a powerful tool for building wealth.
Okay.
Stay with us. Okay, we're back and ready to tackle this last myth. We're calling it a lie, that all debt is bad.
Yeah, it is fascinating how much people just immediately assume debt is bad.
Oh, totally right.
Like,
avoid it at all costs.
live within your means.
Yeah, even if it means sacrificing opportunities for growth or whatever.
But of course, our speaker challenges this, right?
Of course.
They argue that not all debt is created equal.
Right.
They distinguish between good debt and bad debt. Understanding that difference is, I think it's huge.
I think so too.
Okay, so let's break this down.
Okay.
Good debt versus bad debt.
Yeah.
What's the key difference?
Well, bad debt is what usually comes to mind when we hear that word.
Right.
High interest, credit card debt, payday loans, right?
Right.
Basically, anything used to fund a lifestyle you can't afford. Or for things that quickly lose value.
Yeah, it's like digging a hole you can't climb out of.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. The interest payments pile up. It's this constant drain
Yeah.
on your finances.
But good debt is about strategic borrowing.
Okay.
It's using debt to invest in assets that have the potential to appreciate in value or generate income over time. Our speaker uses real estate as a prime example of this.
Right.
Can you walk us through that a little bit?
Sure. Let's say you take out a mortgage to buy a rental property.
Okay.
If that rental income covers the mortgage payments and other expenses,
Right.
you're essentially using someone else's money, the bank's, to build wealth.
Right.
And if the property goes up in value, that's even more equity.
Right.
And you're building.
So you're leveraging that debt to create a stream of passive income and potential asset growth.
Exactly.
Right.
Precisely. But this does require,
Yeah.
careful planning and research.
Oh, of course.
You need a solid financial plan, understanding of the loan terms, and realistic assessment of the investment's potential.
Yeah, you're not just taking on debt lightly, right? You're
Yeah.
using it strategically.
Using it strategically.
Yeah, to achieve those goals.
Exactly.
So for you listening, think about this. How do you view debt? Are there any potential opportunities for good debt that you might be overlooking?
Right.
Especially in relation to maybe some of those entrepreneurial ideas we talked about earlier.
Yeah, good point.
You know, it's worth exploring how this concept could play a role in your wealth building strategy.
It's about challenging those ingrained beliefs and seeing debt through a new lens,
Right.
one that's focused on empowerment and opportunity.
I love that. Okay, so we've explored those 12 money lies, that bonus myth about the crowd,
Yeah.
and even dove into the complexities of good versus bad debt.
It's amazing how these seemingly simple beliefs can really have such a profound impact on our financial decisions and
Right.
ultimately our lives.
The real power, though, is not just about debunking those myths, right?
Right.
It's about empowering you to create a new narrative about money,
Yes.
one that's based on knowledge, strategy, and a belief in your own ability to achieve those financial dreams.
It's about shifting from that place of fear or limitation to a place of confidence and possibility.
So as you move forward, remember to question everything, to seek out knowledge. Surround yourself with those people who support your growth.
Yeah.
Challenge you to think differently.
And most importantly, take action. Don't let those old money myths hold you back from creating that future you deserve.
What a fantastic way to wrap up this deep dive. Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep striving to build that life of financial freedom and fulfillment.